My boss fired me on a Friday afternoon, just 3 days before Christmas. No warning, no performance review, no chance to explain myself. I was called into a conference room, handed a cardboard box, and told that the company was moving in a different direction. After 5 years of loyalty, that's all I got. 5 years of late nights, missed family gatherings, and weekends spent fixing problems that weren't even my responsibility. I had helped build one of the company's most successful projects from the ground up. I genuinely believed my hard work would eventually pay off. Then I discovered the truth. The promotion I had been promised for nearly a year wasn't canceled. It had been quietly given to the CEO's nephew, someone with almost no experience, no qualifications, and no understanding of the business. Everyone in the office knew what was happening, but nobody dared challenge management. As I packed my belongings, my boss walked past my desk and casually said, "Good luck finding another job in this industry." The entire office went silent. At that moment, I felt humiliated, angry, and completely defeated. What I didn't know was that the company had just made the biggest mistake of its existence, and within a few months, they would desperately wish they could undo it. 3 months later, everything changed. I accepted a position with one of my former company's biggest competitors. The new role paid better, offered more responsibility, and gave me the opportunity to continue developing the same ideas my old company had ignored. That's when I learned something shocking. My former employer had built its entire future strategy around a project I created before I was fired. They had taken full credit for my work, believing they could manage it without me. At first, things seemed fine. Then deadlines started slipping. Clients began complaining. Internal teams became frustrated because nobody fully understood how the system worked. Investors started asking difficult questions during meetings. The pressure kept growing. One morning, I opened my inbox and saw an email that made me laugh out loud. It was from my former CEO, the same man who had approved my termination. He was asking for my help. Not only that, but he was offering a significant consulting fee, a senior position, and a personal apology. Suddenly, the people who once treated me as disposable were begging for the expertise they had thrown away. For the first time, I had all the leverage, and the decision I made next would cost their company millions of dollars, while launching my own career to a level they never imagined possible. When my former CEO asked for help, I didn't respond immediately. I let the email sit in my inbox for 2 days, then 3, then 4. For years, they had treated me like I was replaceable. Now they were learning exactly how valuable I had been. Eventually, we agreed to a meeting. The moment I walked into the room, I could feel the desperation. The executives who once ignored my ideas suddenly wanted my opinion on everything. The CEO apologized, claiming mistakes had been made. He blamed middle management, poor communication, and bad timing. But we both knew the truth. They had fired me because they thought they could take my work and succeed without me. Then came the offer, a huge salary increase, a senior leadership position, stock options, everything I had asked for before they fired me. But this time, it was too late. I politely declined. A few months later, their biggest client signed a long-term contract with my new company. Investors pulled out. Revenue continued to fall. The CEO resigned before the end of the year. Meanwhile, the project they once stole became one of the most successful products in my new company's history. The people who laughed when I carried that cardboard box out of the office never laughed again. Because in the end, I didn't need revenge. I simply succeeded. And sometimes, success is the most painful lesson of all. About a year after I was fired, I received a phone call from one of my former coworkers. We hadn't spoken in months, but the moment he started talking, I knew something serious had happened. My old company was falling apart. After losing major clients and missing critical deadlines, the board of directors had launched an internal investigation. Investors were demanding answers, employees were leaving, and the company that once looked unstoppable was now struggling to survive. Then the news finally became public. The CEO had been removed from his position. The same man who laughed when I was escorted out of the building was now carrying his own box through the front doors. No special treatment, no farewell celebration, and no second chance. Just another executive facing the consequences of his own decisions. When I heard the news, I expected to feel satisfied. For years, I had imagined this moment. But strangely, I felt nothing. My life had already moved on. I was earning more money, working with better people, and building a future that no longer depended on proving anything to my former employer. That's when I realized something important. Real revenge isn't watching someone fail. Real revenge is succeeding so completely that their failure no longer matters. While my former CEO spent his time explaining what went wrong, I was busy creating new opportunities and reaching goals I once thought were impossible. In the end, the company didn't collapse because I left. It collapsed because they believed talented people were disposable. And that mistake ended up costing them everything.